Today on Quiet Arena Podcast,
Your sport is only 1% of your game.
Christian owner.
Try to explore a little bit and find something you enjoy outside of it that can help you outside of that transition. I'll never do that. I will never go down that path. I fell into it. Like I fell flat on my face.
What you go through is what you go through. Just make sure that you grow through it.
The lifestyle I got myself into was just dark. I remember so many times being like, what am I doing with my life? Like, how am I?
The stadium is loud, the lights are bright, the crowd is cheering. But every athlete eventually has to answer one question. What happens next? Because when the arena goes quiet, the real game begins. Welcome to Quiet Arena.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Quiet Arena. I am your host, Tony the Tycoon, and I am excited, so excited to be here. And man, look, today's guest is someone who learned how to win. And then they had to learn how to make it work. So he spent years competing in beach volleyball, building his skill, putting in the work, chasing opportunity in a sport that doesn't guarantee anything. So from the outside, it looks like freedom, but behind the scenes, it's pressure, it's uncertainty. It's figuring out how to sustain something you love. And at some point, the question changes now, not just to how to compete, but how to make it work. He had to make that shift from athlete to builder, now helping other athletes turn their skill sets into income and real opportunity. Christian, man, I appreciate you. Mr. Christian Hunter, I appreciate you for joining. Welcome to the locker room, sir. Welcome to the Quiet Arena, my man.
Bro, I'm so excited to be here, man. That was so awesome. I love that freedom and that perspective. Oh man, that's so good. I'm so stoked to be here and dive into it, man. So good.
Yeah, man. Well, look, before we jump into the first question, man, like me and you, we met at PAC, Pro Athlete Community, bro.
For sure we did.
I was so inspired by your energy and just your positivity, man. So like, you know, before we dive into some of the questions that I have, I want, like, where does that come from? Where does all that energy and that positivity and all that come from? Because you're a man like I'm a man. We go through things, but you
for sure
look at things differently. Where does that come from?
Yeah, that is an incredible question. A lot of my mentors call me like a sunflower. They're like, Christian, where do you get? And I'm like, I really feel like it comes from the Lord. Like it really does. Like it only can come from the Lord. Like, I don't know, every day I feel like it's like, if I can go to the source and like, just like, he just gives me this joy that I just can't even comprehend, that like, whether the chaotic circumstances that we may be in, it's just like, I'm just like, man, I'm here. Life's good. I'm living another day. I'm blessed. God's good. And yeah, I think, no, that's a really good question. I haven't even thought about that, but I think that has to be where it comes from. I love that question. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, man, listen, your energy, man, is infectious, man. And it's always a pleasure to get to talk to you. Like, you spent years competing in beach volleyball and building your skill set, right? And now you've transitioned into helping athletes turn their skills into income. When you look at that shift, what does it represent for you?
Oh man, it represents just like being the athlete and realizing like for me, I was like a super underdog. I'm here in Arizona. All these guys in California, they have the houses there already. Their parents are paying, like they're dialed in. And like, for me, it means like grit and perseverance and like doing whatever it took. And like, to reach the goals that I wanted to reach. And just like, you know, like really like, I think being intentional and like trying to seek out people that I could learn from that could give me that shortcut. And like, I feel like it represents like, finding other people that can help me. And then like just being relentless at like doing whatever it takes to like get the result that I'm looking for, kind of. And like try to focus on just the things that I actually can control and like try to eliminate all the things, because I feel like for a while, like, it just represents, I think, a lot of resilience ultimately.
Man, I love that. Like, man, resiliency, that is a common theme amongst athletes, man. Like you have to have resiliency, you have to have confidence, a belief, perseverance, all of those aspects. Where does your resiliency come from?
I think being homeschooled. I was homeschooled my whole life. So like, it was kind of like, you don't go to school and people just tell you what to do. My mom, like at times was like, here's your schoolwork, go do it. Like it was up to me. Like it's up to me, like a lot of the times. And so like, for me, I think at a young age, like that resilience came from, I think, a lot of hardships too, as being a young kid, like homeschooled. I'm like, I felt left out a little bit. And like, my dad like lost his job at a pivotal time. And so I think it comes from just like a lot of harder times when I was a young kid. Um, and just realizing that like I feel like I became independent really young being homeschooled because it's like I finish my school and then I start figuring out what I want to figure out for the rest of my life. So I think it really just comes from like with homeschool, it's almost like you have to self-educate and find your own way, like rather than almost putting that up to someone else. So like for me, I feel like the resilience was like, man, I got to put work into this. I got to like do everything it takes. Like I think like as a homeschooler, and I was like, I want to go to college by the time I'm like 14 or 15. Like I could do that if I just stack my school. And like at a young age, I was like thinking, that ahead. So I think it's just like having the ability to have that time and space at a young age, like just gave me that way to like develop that resilience, it feels like.
Yeah. So through homeschool and by the way your mom kind of like set parameters for you to learn, it allowed you to be in an exploratory phase.
Very much so. Yes, exactly. And then focus on like get done with the things I needed to get done, but then also be able to focus on the things that like lit me up and things that I wanted to work hard towards and pour energy into.
That's dope. It's interesting because I believe if more school systems operated like that, like for instance, I don't remember where it is. I just know it's in Europe. Europe always
Yeah,
doing some pretty cool things.
for
But
sure.
they have a system to where from one time to one time, it's like your traditional schoolwork. But then like for like another 2 or 3 hours, like it's whatever electives or courses or whatever it is that the kid is interested in. They
Powerful.
let those kids explore in that phase, man.
Wow.
And like their testing scores soar through the roof because they're actually allowing the kids to discover the things that they are interested in, right? Going into that identity
Totally.
exploration phase.
At a young age. That's
Yeah,
powerful. Yeah, my mom
at a
almost
young age.
implemented that with me without
Yeah.
me realizing that. That's powerful. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, I mean, she
Yeah.
she she really did, and now that I'm asking that question and hearing the response, man, it's giving me so much insight to how you are, who you are, and the way that you are. Like now, it's like okay, now
Yeah.
it makes sense. I understand.
Yeah,
I get,
yeah.
I
I
get,
love going
I get
back to
more of an
that.
understanding
Yeah, for
now.
sure. It's
For
powerful.
sure. Let's go back for a minute. Like
Yeah.
before the business, before the pivot, like
Mm-hmm.
who are you when the game was still, the main focus of your life?
Yeah. So I think from the time when I think about it, homeschool and then exploring things outside of that and then sports. I was just an athlete. I played baseball, basketball, golf, soccer, like whatever it was at that young age. And I found volleyball a little later actually. So at a young age, I think my dad implemented like baseball because he didn't make it in baseball. And he's like, you got to make it in baseball. And I kind of took that up
Mm,
to me to be like, oh man, like, all right, my dad made it to college and da 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 da. But it's like, that's like what he wants me to do. And so like, your dad's your superhero. So I'm just like, I got to do that. So I think at a young
yeah.
age, I was so focused on my homeschool, getting that done, figuring out what I can explore outside of that, and then just being an athlete. But I think for me, yeah, I was so focused on baseball, but I also wanted to be like, even though I don't know if that's my favorite, I want to explore these other sports. So like for me, I was just doing like everything under the sun sport wise at a young age. I would do BMX, even skateboarding. I broke my arm skateboarding in my homeschool group. Like at PE,
Mm,
we had every Thursday, we would like just try new sports and do different things. And we would do like, yeah. So that I think that was a cool exploratory phase to where I could like figure out what sport, and it led me to sports later. Like the sport that I chose, I started at like 16, which is weird because it's like I thought I was gonna go, pro in baseball or go over something else, but then I found volleyball later on. And I just dipped all the other
yeah.
sports and then went all in on it. So it's kind of interesting. Like at a young age, I was just kind of like baseball, but like I'll play these other sports just in case because I think I'm gonna be enjoying those more, even though my dad wants me to play the baseball. Does that make sense? That's kind of where I feel like my
Yeah,
athlete self was
it
at
does.
that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does. That's an interesting because you hear about different athletes. They're going to like an exploratory phase in the world of sport, like different
Hmm.
sports. Like for instance, like my one of my sons is playing hockey. I would have
So
never,
awesome. Yeah. You're like, not
never
for
guessed
me. Yeah.
he was
Totally.
interested in hockey, right? But like
Totally.
he likes hockey, and so like
Yep.
hockey and soccer, and like my first organized sport was soccer. So it's like, but you play all of these sports, and then but what is it about? What was it about volleyball that like just encapsulated you to where you said, you know what, this is
Hmm.
what I'm going to lock in on for the next few years of my life?
That's a really good question. So the story goes like it was at PE where we played volleyball, and I was like, guys, volleyball's so fun. I don't know why. Like at that point, and I think I was like 16, and I was like, girls play volleyball, like cool, like and I was like, oh man, maybe if I play volleyball, like I think there was some of that when I first started, but then I just fell in love because I was like, I get to be barefoot, I get to be outside, and like there's like it felt like two, I think at that point, it was also a new challenge because I'm like, man, all these other sports feel kind of old and I'm
Mm.
burnt out. And like, I'm like, this is a whole new world. Like, I can now learn how to do this bumping thing. And then, but it hurts my arms and I can do this setting thing and spiking. That's cool. If I could spike hard, like maybe the girls, like the high school
Yeah.
girls would be like, what up? This homeschool kid plays volleyball. Like I think at that point, it was kind of like new. And like, I was also like, I think I started watching like the pros in the Olympics and I was like, man, like this sport is cool. And it takes like a lot because you be in the sand, you're like jumping, you're running, you're sprinting, like there's so much. So I was like, it kind of encompasses like the athlete that I want to be. And so I remember riding my bike to the park. It was like a mile and a half. I grew up in Surprise, Arizona. Surprise! What a weird town name in Surprise. But I would ride my bike at night when people would play volleyball after my PE or another like night. And I would just like wait and have my volleyball and like be like, I hope someone asks me to play. And like I would like watch my YouTube videos before I come to like to prepare myself and stuff. And I remember like trying to call all the pro players here and being like, hey, like can I get some training? Can you mentor me? Like this sport is cool. Like, and a really funny story that where I started, like where I first started volleyball and didn't know too much about it. It was probably like 2 weeks into finding out about it. I signed up for an open tournament. And an open tournament is like the best level. I thought it was open gym. Everybody's like, come to open gym. I'm like, okay, sign up for open. Perfect. Me and my buddy, it's like the best. Like all the pros are in the open. And I'm like, bro, I don't even know how to play this game. We lost 21-2. These guys will tell this story. These older guys now that I play with and beat them down all the time now. But they were like, I was a kid and they just crushed me 21-1, 21-2 every game. I didn't even know how to pass or anything. But I was like, I was just there. And I was like, I thought this was like open play. They're like, no, it's open. And that's AAA. Like you need to be at the lowest level. And so after pool play, they put us down to like the lowest level C, and we got last place. Like, and so that was kind of like my introduction to the sport. And everybody's like, bro, like you could be
Yeah.
good if you just train. You don't know what you're doing, but whatever. And so I would drive to the other side of town, and I started being like, man, this is a cool sport. And then yeah, ultimately decided to move to California my senior year of high school to pursue it.
Man, that is an amazing story. So my man walks into a gym thinking like, oh, okay, this is like a friendly thing. Everybody's just coming out. Oh, lo and behold, like, no, this is the best of the best.
I just get
Welcome you.
wrecked.
That's being thrown in the fire, bro. Yeah, you
Literally
were
get
thrown in the
thrown in
fire.
fire. Literally.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
But look,
Exactly.
you're building, and we'll definitely dive into that too, because I
Yeah.
definitely want to talk about what you're building and how you're helping the athletes. But
Yeah.
the people see the athlete, and now they see the business and things that you're building. But like, what
Yeah.
did that grind phase really look like for you? That dark phase where you have to like really
Oh
go
my
in and figure
gosh.
things out. How was that?
Man, yeah, I feel like I've had several of them, honestly. Like when I can think back, like I feel like I've had
Mm.
like a handful. Like I feel like one was probably like my second year of playing pro volleyball. Like I was like I qualified for my first tournament, like one of my first summers out there after graduating high school, and then like I started just becoming like an alcoholic because it's like Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, LA. All you do is drink and party. And so like all these guys I looked up to that were these pros that I watched being homeschooled, riding my bike to the park and like going to open gym. Like I was like, dude, I watched this guy on YouTube. This guy, Sean Rosenthal, he played at the Olympics. He jumps 40 inches. Like, holy cow. And I'm like hanging out with him. And he's like, bro, like, let me get you into this bar, like, and come hang out. And I'm seeing him smoke cigarettes and drink and do drugs. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm this Christian kid that grew up in a Christian family. And I'm like, my dad was into drugs. I'll never do that. I will never go down that path because my dad did. I know, like, I remember when I was 10 years old and he was doing all this stuff. Like, I will never do that. And so I fell into it. Like I fell fat on my face like a couple years into it. Like I probably my pride and I was just like, man, like I think I'm this big dog. I'm 18 years old. I'm qualifying to these beach volleyball tournaments. These ladies are like all these things. Like it's all fun and party lifestyle. And I think like for me at that point, like I was just like I was so lost. Like I was like going all in my sport and like doing okay, but like the alcohol and just like the not sleeping and just the partying and just the atmosphere that I got myself into and like the lifestyle I got myself into was just dark, man. And so I think I remember so many times of just like, yeah, like calling out to God and just like being like, yeah, being suicidal at times, being like, what am I doing with my life? Like, how am I, how, like shame and guilt of being like, man, I'm doing this full circle thing that I said I would never do. And I'm, look at where I am. Like, yeah, I'm playing volleyball, whatever, but it's like, okay, like I'm living like pretty much an alcoholic lifestyle like out here. Like and it's not, very congruent like for me being an athlete or anything, So for me, yeah, that was a very dark time when I was just very yeah, caught up in that space at a young age. Everybody was like, "Hey Christian, like you come out here and do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in." But like, yeah, it was a dark time. And that's just one of them. I feel like I've had several for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's interesting. Like, if I'm hearing correctly, it's like you're in a your talent is put you in a position to be around some of the best in the world, but you're still in that maturing phase of life as a young man and
Yes.
going into adulthood. And so now
Yes.
the people that you looked
Yes.
up to in sport, you're coming to find might not be the ideal role
Exactly.
model for you or move in the direction that you intrinsically really want to move in. But that pressure of wanting to be fitting in at that
Yep.
age kind of overtakes you.
I'm sorry. My little one, he's
How did
crying.
you
My
how did
one's
you overcome that?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think I
no, that's
had
cool, man.
I had a mentor, man, like that came in my life at such a pivotal time. Like where I was just like he reached out and he's like, "Christian, I'm a sports performance guy. I know sports. I know like, I study alcohol. Like I know what it does." Like he was just this random guy that I met and he was like reached out to me on Twitter and was like, "Christian, like I feel like you're struggling in some way. Like I just want to reach out to you. I know you need a mentor." Kind of thing. And so he reached out to me, man, and like he just gave me such a different perspective on like what I was doing with my life and like where I was at that like shifted my mindset. And it's crazy because I just talked to him recently and I haven't talked to him for a long time. But yeah, he was just a pivotal guy that just like, bro, I'm here for you in your corner, man. I'm here. Like, and I was just like, no way. Like, I need someone right now. Like, I'm a young kid that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know who to go to. Like, I'm kind of stuck in this, like, thinking I'm a rock star out here. And so, yeah, that mentor, like, pivotal.
I love that, man. I love that. It's like God knew what you needed and he dropped it in there right at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Yep. Amen.
In volleyball, in beach volleyball, is it one of the sports to where like you have to find sponsors or you sponsor certain things yourself, or how does that work? Because it's
Really great
different than
question.
other
Very much
sports
so.
that we look at. Yeah.
Yeah, so most of the athletes that I've known have been like trust fund kids and have money, like or their parents have money, and they're just kind of set up, like. But yeah, a
Mm,
lot of them, like I would say, like top six in the world get a stipend from USA Volleyball if you're making it internationally. So you get like a couple grand a month from that, and then sponsors is pretty much the other way, and then prize money. So the really interesting thing about beach volleyball in like the 80s and 90s, it was massive. It was like golf. There was bikini contests, there was millions of dollars being made, there's 50 tournaments a year. The players thought they could do business better than the business people. They bankrupted the tour.
mm,
And they've been growing
mm,
back from and
mm-hmm.
they changed the rules of the sport and so many other things. And so they've gotten to a point to where yeah, it's prize money. And now the prize money is like maybe 50 grand a tournament for the women and 50 grand for the men. So you get like 10 grand to win. And you split it between you, your coach, your like, and so there's like really not, and there's like 8 tournaments a year now. So it's like, it's really sad how the sport was so big and Bud Light was sponsoring it, Miller Lite, all that. And then the players destroyed the business, ruined all the everything, and then they had to start from scratch. And people have been trying to buy the business, and so it's been like 20 years of just like failing, like completely. And it's so sad because it's a great market. But yeah, it's like sponsors and that. But most people are, I mean, people talk about it all the time, like making less money than people at McDonald's, you know, with all that stuff, and they're living in Hermosa Beach. Like, how are you
Mm.
doing that? Like, it's very like for me, I was like, I don't understand how these people do it. Like, I don't. Like, it's really hard. Like, you know. So, does that give you kind of like what
Yeah.
that looks like a little bit?
So you,
It's wild.
yeah, yeah, because the next question becomes like, well, if that's the case, you had to figure out a way for you to be able to sustain your lifestyle and do the thing that you love, what you were passionate about. Like, so what did that aspect of your life in having to, deal with that teach you about, finance, teach you about money?
So much, man. I was just like, man, at some point I can't rely on sponsors and prize money because that's so external. I got to have something like that dials me in, like so that I can sustain this because it's not sustainable. And so I remember at times I would like Uber Eat and DoorDash, like, and then I had like if I needed to or like whatever it took, I would do lessons, like I would do, you know, whatever it would really take, I would do. And I had a lot of marketing knowledge, thank the Lord, from like my past. And so what I typically would do is I would have my off season, which would start after summer. Typically, I would come back to Arizona August, September, October ish. And then I would come back here and I would just wake up at 4 a.m., go work on my dad's business, go sell websites to clients, like, and then try to work out on top of it. Like, it's almost like doing
Mm.
two jobs at once. So I was kind of really just
Yeah.
like off season for 6 months, stack cash, like do whatever I can to like stack cash and get better. And once I stack cash and get better, then I'm going to prepare myself for that next year financially. So I'm like, stack 40, 50 grand, spend it all, and then try to make some while I'm doing like out there, you know, kind of thing for the 4 months, 5 months I'm out there, and then do it all over again. So I did that like 8 times, like pretty much like going through that. So yeah. And it got better every
So when
year,
you
obviously. Like progress, like it kind
well,
of
yeah,
the
because
momentum
you were
built.
able to progress. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
were able to
Hmm.
progress based off of that.
Yeah.
But one of the things is that creativity and that ingenuity allowed you to find it allowed you to find a business model, right? Because you were talking about how you were
Yes.
making websites and things for clientele. So that created some creativity that led you into
So
that business.
much. Absolutely. And it started when I was homeschooled. So I started making money online, like 1,500 bucks a month when I was 13. And so I would like finish my school and build
Mhm.
businesses. And so I started doing that. And then, yeah, I just progressed to be like, oh, what can I do now? Oh, I learned about funnels. Oh, I learned about this, and just kind of like adding to my skill set each and every year to make me more valuable to clients and people so that I could pursue my dream of playing volleyball.
Yeah, no, that makes
Yeah,
so much sense. This is always interesting, the transitional period, because everybody's transitional period is always different, right? But
totally.
for you, when you realize, like, hey, man, as much as I love doing this, I have to move in a space to where, because now at this point, you have children, there's a
Yeah,
family.
totally.
What did that thought process of transition
Mm,
look like for you personally when you realized I gotta put down this passion, this dream of mine that I've been doing since I was 16, and start to
totally.
find something else in my life that I can, you know,
Yeah.
get better at?
Amen. Great question. Yeah. I think I was like, it was 2020 where I had my last, probably best year. They had like a COVID, a tournament, and I was like 2 spots out. Like there was only four, like 12 teams allowed, and I was like 2 spots out. And I was like, dang, like, man, like, and I don't even know where the world's gonna go. Like, I probably should grow up. Like, I have some friends that are still sleeping on my couch and other people's couches, and they're 40 years old. I'm kind of like, okay, like, what is going on in my life a little bit? Like, I know I want a family, I know I want to have kids, and I know this lifestyle isn't going to like be congruent with that. So I was just like, all right, like, I kind of said I was going to give it up, but at that point, like I had a really tough like breakup in that year with actually my current wife. Wild story. But that was kind of like 2022 or 2020, and I kind of went back and I was like, I kind of took like a year or two off, and I kind of was just like, no, this isn't what I'm going to do. And then I kind of went right back trying to go into it for like 2 summers. And then after that, I was just like, no, like this isn't sustainable. Like it just feels like it's like trying to be like a rock star lifestyle and just have fun and build this thing. And like it's just very selfish. And I was just like, I feel like God has so much more for me, like to have a family and kids and like that. And I was just like, I know this isn't going to take me there, like with what I'm doing with this. And so I'm like, I've just kind of got to say, not grow up, but hey, like let's just focus on other things and like put this aside. And I kind of put into my head, maybe when you're, 37, you're like, at that point, maybe I'll go back and train a year and just play with the best player and just win a tournament and become like. So I kind of have that in my mind. Like I'm gonna go back to it. Like I'm 31 now, so I'm like maybe I'll like kind of have the family and then kind of go back and be able to do it for a couple years because I really enjoy it. And so yeah, it's kind of like I set it down knowing that like I have an intention to like pick it up at some point, but knowing that like it wasn't for me at that time and I needed to focus on other things and put my time, effort, and energy to more what's congruent with what I wanted rather than just kind of taking it day by day and thinking, oh, this is fun for now and I could just do this volleyball thing forever because my identity still kind of feels like it's in it and I want to be this volleyball player and I like all my friends are in the Olympics and and I played with them, I should be there, so I think that's what kind of was the hardest part of like leaving that and being like done like until
Yeah. Do you feel as though you when you made the situation to transition, do you feel as though you didn't accomplish as much as you would like to have accomplished in the sport? And is that the thing that still kind of ties you to it?
Great
Or is
question.
it just I love the sport and I realize I need to create sustainability before I can go back to it?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I think one, I'm like, I love
Mm.
this sport so much and I feel like it'd be so cool to go back to and like pursue it at the highest level when I know like and most people win at the best when they're later in life, which is crazy. Not a lot of young volleyball players make it. It's like more like 37 to 42. They like win the Olympics and all that, which is interesting. But then two, I also started watching film of myself and being like, man, I left some on the table there. Or like, I think I
Mm.
really know I could have beat that, like won that tournament. Or man, I only got like 3/7 in the fifth or whatever. Like I should have gotten at least to the semis or the finals. Like after going and watching and being like, oh, this sport's fun. Like I think I like, yeah, had this, I still have this thought and like, I think when I watch it too, I'm like, oh, like I know, like sometimes I see it on my feed and I'm like, man, like, so I think it's both. Like I love this, but like I also feel like there's something to leaving some on the table because I feel like I couldn't fully devote myself to it even in that season, if that makes sense. So I think it's a
Mm.
combination. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I get it. I get it. I did an interview with the tight end that played with Peyton Manning in the
Yeah.
Indianapolis Colts. His name is
Wow.
Ben Utecht,
Yep.
and his welcome to the NFL moment was catching a pass from Peyton Manning. Right, this was his very first play in the NFL. He caught a pass from Peyton Manning. Uh, Ran over a defensive back and scored a touchdown. And the defensive back that he ran over was none other than the great Deion Sanders when he was playing with the Baltimore Ravens, right? So that was his
Wow.
welcome to the NFL moment. Well, obviously he had some concussion issues which caused him to not be able to play anymore. So
Mm,
that retired him, not himself. And
yeah.
he's wildly successful, has written books, he's on stages, he operates as a corporate leadership person for
Mm-hmm.
businesses. Like he's doing all of the things.
Wow.
But it was interesting to see somebody that has found that much success off the field still say, I still think about the plays that I didn't make. And it sounds similar to what you're saying.
Very. That's powerful. Yeah. I'm just like, man, yeah, I think about that a lot. I do. I'm like, man, I know, like, and just, I think when you become a father and like in business, you see like, wow, like athletics is not easy, but like in comparison, you sometimes compare like what you're in right now to that as well, to where, yeah, no, that's very similar. I think I
Yeah,
relate with that completely. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there's an identity reconstruction that happens, and that's what you're doing right now. So you've made the shift
Totally.
from athlete to builder, like you're actively doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what you've done on social media. And here's the thing: I've seen the social proof of other people talking about how you've changed their life and helped them as well.
Yeah.
So you're now teaching others how to monetize their skill sets.
Yep.
What did you have to change about the way you thought to make that transition?
Yeah, I think for me, switching from being an athlete of performance
Mm-hmm.
to like service.
Mm,
So it's like, okay, like
mm,
in
okay.
sport, I feel like I'm this performer, and it's like now, okay, cool. I've done my performance. Now, how can I serve? Like, how can I really help other people, like with what God's given me and the story that God's given me? Like, how could I use those gifts and skill sets and the things that I've invested in all those 8 years of off-season training, like in the gym and, in the finance gym and all those things? Like, how can I best serve? I'm like, okay, I performed, but I'm like, I know everybody says like, people find that fulfillment in that, and there's like an art to fulfillment versus like the science to like building wealth or something like that. So I think for me, I was like
Yeah. Yeah.
shifting that performance to service, and then like really developing that mindset of service and fulfillment and purpose. So I think that's kind of where it stemmed from and where that transition happened from. Yeah.
Man, that's so cool. That's so cool. Every time I hear the word, man, I get goosebumps, man. You're talking about fulfillment and purpose. Like that's one of the reasons why we started the podcast is to be able to share with the athlete, like, hey, man, look, you did something at a high level and you did it really well, but that was just what you did. That's not who you are. And being able to
Yes.
identify who you are, who you serve, that purpose and that alignment is where you're
Amen.
really going to get that enjoyment and that fulfillment. And a lot of guys have had so much success off the floor than on it. You look at Shaquille O'Neal, he's somebody. You
Yeah,
look at Magic Johnson.
you're
You can look
right.
at, recently I was reading up about Grant Hill. He did some amazing stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, like it's just there's so many people that have found success. Roger Staubach, we can go all the way back to the 60s and 70s. This guy was
Yes.
the quarterback for the quote unquote America's team at the height of when that marketing ploy
So
was moving
gnarly.
and the world was like Dallas Cowboys, right? Roger Staubach. But now like he's known probably more for his real estate, tycoonism, right, than
Yes,
even on the football
totally.
field as
That's
America's
so wild to
quarterback. So it's like
think.
there is so much
Yeah.
success off the game,
Mm-hmm.
outside of the game, man.
Yep. There's so much left on the
Yeah,
table. I think even like just realizing, I think this
yeah,
is something my mentor shared with me is it's like, Christian, your sport is only 1% of your game. I think that piece, just him sharing that with me, I'm like, whoa, how am I putting all this time and effort and energy into something that's that small in comparison to a whole encompassing of life?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like to that point, like Tom Brady. Tom Brady played over 2 decades in the NFL. I think it was like 21, 22
Crazy.
years, maybe anywhere between 20 to 22 years. 2 decades. Tom Brady is still in his mid 40s.
Yeah.
The
You're
average
right.
life
Exactly.
expectancy for males in America is like 83 years old.
Yep.
So
You're
even
exactly right.
playing 20 years in a space is still a blip on the map when you talk about the totality of life,
Yeah.
right?
You're
And
right.
you bring out a great point when you talk about like, hey man, like you put a lot of energy into this and you found success, but this is a small portion of your life. We have to still understand what our life needs to look like or what our successes are outside of that,
Mm.
right?
Yep. Amen. Yeah. And that identity too. Like, yeah, because it's very easy to just do things rather than that becoming piece. I think that's just such a part of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. And enjoy the journey. Like
For
we're
sure.
so I believe America pushes getting to the destination so much
You're
that we
exactly right.
forget that it's actually the journey that we should enjoy, right?
So true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. When
Yeah.
I think about volleyball or anything else, like, yeah, totally.
You're helping athletes, man, and you're in a space to where you're showing them how to leverage their story, their skill set to create businesses. But
Yeah.
prior to going into that, my question to you is what's something that you wish athletes understood earlier about protecting themselves financially, especially
Mm,
when the checks stop coming and the identity starts to shift?
yeah. I would say realizing one that like yeah, I think your sport has that expiration date and that your sport is literally just something that you do and you are so much more than that and start to just explore that and see how you can go from performance to service and be like, all right, like I've performed at the high level. I've
Mhm.
gathered so much. Now how can I, serve because I feel like if we can serve, then like ultimately that check that stops coming and those things like that, like you have that purpose and something outside of your sport that is going to keep you going. And I always encourage people, like, even while you're competing, try to explore a little bit and find something you enjoy outside of it that can help you outside of that transition. Like, you're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm in college or I'm playing my first year in the NFL. It's like, what things do you enjoy and what's something, a skill set you can learn? And it's kind of helpful as being an athlete when you're all in on one thing to have a break to be like, I'm learning coding, or I'm a cybersecurity guy, or I'm learning sales, or I'm learning marketing, or I'm learning this. Like, I think like if you can be a little bit proactive, like in that rather than reactive. I think so many of us, it's very easy to just be oh, boom, it's done. Okay, the checks are gone. Okay, now what do I do? Oh my gosh. Like, we just have to be proactive in that and be like, all right, like, I know this isn't forever. And like, I know I'm so much more than my volleyball or my jujitsu or this. And like, what are those things and things that I enjoy that I can give and serve others with? That like, or a skill set I can learn or something that I can spend 30 minutes a day on, like, or like whatever, like outside your training and being the athlete, like finding something like that that you think might be congruent with life after the game and just being more proactive and seeing and realizing that there is an end to it. And like, I got to have a vision, because once that's gone, then yeah, it's like, what do you have at that point? So it's like just building something else, whatever that may be. Like, I encourage you, like, if you can, while you're competing, like, just go a little bit back before, because a lot of us are like, okay, like, boom, like, just if we can be a little more proactive in that, I think just be, oh my gosh, would be massive.
That's so good. That's such a good gem that you just dropped, because the reality of all of what you're saying is that when you're in sport, regardless of whatever sport you're in, you know, that collegiate professional level, you're somewhere in between there. Like, now is the highest opportunity for you to be able to get into any room that you want to, because everybody wants to
That
be
too.
associated with the athlete. And if you're a current, and it doesn't
Yeah.
even matter where you are on the depth chart, man. I
No.
don't care if you're a walk on, or you're an all
Yeah.
American, or you're, you know, the second
Totally.
string person on a pro team, or you're a starter. Like, every company wants to be associated with athletes. And so now you have to figure out how to use that platform to be able to explore, like you're saying, and to set yourself up as for a bridge for when, not if, but when the game ends,
Mm.
to have a bridge to walk across. So many athletes, man, they operate only within their sport. And so now when that door is closed, there is no bridge, and they fall into the depths of despair.
Exactly.
And that's why
Yep.
we're seeing what we're seeing. And there's a phenomenon happening right now. I don't know if you've been watching this, with all of these athletes that are retiring as rookies, 3-year
Mm.
contract, retire, 2-year
Yes,
contract,
I see
retire.
you
Like,
posted those
so
about that. I was
it's,
so
I
confused.
believe, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know the answer. Is there some
Yeah.
sort of shift that's happening? Are
Yeah.
they starting to see that there's more to it? Is it NIL? And you know what? I got money. I'm good. I don't know if I want to put myself through that. I don't know what it is. I'm exploring it. But we're seeing something different than what we usually
Mm-hmm.
have saw when it came to
For
sport. Like,
sure.
usually sport was, we're going 100%, we're going all in, we're blocking out with tunnel vision, right? We don't
You're
have the
right.
ability to see anything else but our sport. And now we're starting to see guys maybe make that shift. So I'm gonna keep my finger to the pulse on that.
Same.
Um,
Yeah.
with your business, transferable skills, you're working with athletes now. So what are you seeing that they're missing when it comes to turning their skills into something sustainable?
Great question. One, a lot of people feel like imposters. They don't feel like they have what it takes or they have enough
Mm,
knowledge. Imposter syndrome,
mm,
massive. That
wow.
happens every time. Like, who am I to help
Okay.
someone? And I'm like, bro, like, let me give you social proof after social proof that I know about you and how you can help people. But so many people feel like they're imposters, and still, even if they have the gold medals or this, that, and the other, they still don't feel like they have what it takes. Or if they don't, like, they just don't feel like they have a lot to offer. They feel like imposters. Yeah, that's one. Um,
Wow. That is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And I think a lot of people like don't feel like they're like along the same lines as that. Like, people don't feel like their time is worth something and who they are is worth something and their value. Like, they don't realize their value in who, like, from their sport. Like, so many people that I meet, I'm like, man, you have so much value. Like, but people need someone to tell them and see that value in them because we're too close to our own thing. So it's like so many people are stuck being like not knowing their value, being an imposter and not knowing their value. And then I think a lot of people are just like, yeah, I think scared, fear. It's like something I've never done before. Like, I know to go to the gym. I know to eat this. I know to go throw this ball. I know to dunk this. I know to do these things. But like when it comes to that, I think they don't realize yeah, like that, just like in sports, adversity and fear and hard things like help you become better. So like almost like that perspective
Mm,
in business and being able to see the similarities from business to athletics in so many of those ways, I think are big. And then a lot of people just don't know what to sell. It's like, what would I sell? Like, what do I have to sell? Like, and that goes along with like the value, and it goes along with the imposter, because it's just like, who, me? Like, it's like, bro, people are selling pet rocks for like 5 million bucks and selling them. like I think you can add more value than a pet rock. Like,
yeah, yeah. You're helping them to see outside of themselves, which is so important, man. What you said was so important, man, about the value, bro. Like it is interesting. The reason why you got the response that you got is because I'm thinking about like all of the people that I met. Like I met Olympic champions, and I met Super Bowl champions, and I met a
yup.
Major League Baseball champion, and like all of 10 years. And you won. You pitched for this many years, and it's like to think like, yeah, but outside of that, I don't see any value in myself. Like, man,
Mm,
that is amazing to me. That is amazing. But you're so right, and I don't believe that's just an athlete thing. I believe that's a people thing.
human.
You know,
Hmm.
I believe people don't see the value within themselves, which is why selling hope is such a big business,
It
right?
is
Because
big
so
time.
many people don't see the value, so they walk around hopeless. So if you can sell
Exactly.
hope to them, I'm
Mm,
hoping that you can, no pun intended, but if the generalized you, if you are somebody that sells something that inspires hope, then I'm praying that whatever it is that you sell actually creates transformation for those individuals, and you're not
exactly.
just taking money from them.
Exactly. And realizing that when you do solve a problem and transform lives, people don't realize how valuable that is. And most people can't do that because they've transformed their own life, and their can become their message, and what they struggle with, they can help other people with, Yeah.
Mm. Their mess can become their message. I'm gonna give you credit, but I'm gonna use that at some point.
So good,
I
dude.
like that.
It's
Their
so good. I'm
mess
like,
can
everything I've
become their
overcome.
message.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, we can just serve
Yeah.
people. Like that's why we go through the things we go through. And that's how we can almost have hope in the harder things
Mm.
that we go through. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I always feel like every business I've started is serving my past self. And that's what I tell all my clients. It's like, just serve your past self. Like, they're a couple pages behind you. It's your moral obligation to serve and help those people that are a couple pages behind you. Because you can, and they haven't seen that yet, but you have, and you can give them the shortcuts. Yeah,
Yeah, it allows you to always have a market. Like,
exactly.
man, that just opened up my mind. I mean, for me, I have what we do, and we're steadfast in that. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
I like
Amen.
hearing other people that have played sport at different levels and different things because they have a different perspective. And one of the things that you said that I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. Been doing it, didn't think about it, is helping people that are a few pages behind you have a transformation. Like every athlete
It's
can
true.
can can do that just from the simple fact that most people struggle with adversity. I posted something earlier that said most people see adversity as an obstacle, whilst others see adversity as an opportunity. And
Amen.
and so if you are an athlete, you've played at these levels, you've already mastered overcoming adversity, right?
Exactly.
Because sport is about overcoming the hard thing. So if it's
Yep.
people that are having a problem with that, then
Yep.
just take your skill set and your mindset of what you built and turn that into a teachable framework for them, and it will bring transformation for them because it brought it for you.
Exactly. You have the social proof from yourself. Yeah. And an amazing book on that, Ryan Holiday, Obstacle is the Way. So good. I think the
Mm.
Patriots coach like had all of them like read that every year. Or like, I think someone said something about that, but it's just all about like the obstacle is the way. Like, it's beautiful. It's kind of like a stoicism thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What is Marcus Aurelius? He said that the impediment of action advances action, what stands in the way becomes the way. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's dope. Yeah.
So dope.
Yeah. So for everybody that's listening, man, if you're going through something, understand that you're going through it for the benefit of not just you, but for others. So
Man.
what you go through is what you go through. Just make sure that you grow through, man, you know?
Yes. And then just think about how you can truly help people through that once you've gone through it, because you're like, ow, that hurt. That was so much pain. Like, I want to solve that for someone else and help them not have to go through that, you know? Yeah.
For sure. For sure. When you look at Christian, what you're building now, right? Uh, what's the bigger vision beyond just helping athletes make money?
Great question, man. I've been wrestling with this and talking about this recently. It's really about helping them find what they have to offer to the world and be able to offer that. Because it's like, it's really not about money. It's really not at all. It's really for these, and it's interesting. My marketing, I think my message comes out that way. But one of my clients that just, oh, she's an amazing woman. She's a swimmer and her husband passed in the line of duty. And she's a grieving widow. And we started with being like, she didn't need money or anything like that. She was chasing something. She hired all these coaches and she was trying to figure out like, what can I serve people with and how can I find my purpose in this world? Like to help people through what went through for 5 years of trauma, of grieving, of all these things that like so many other people deal with. And so like she watched one of my webinars and she became a client, and now she helps and serves widows and athletes and grieving people with their nervous system, their trauma, like all this stuff. And she found purpose in her life. She just lights up every time I talk to her. So it's really about like helping these athletes package what they know and like be able to give that to the world. And great, you make income, cool. But more than anything, it's really about that fulfillment and purpose. But you want to make sure the money makes sense to where it's a win-win, because if it's not going to be a win-win. Like if you're not going to put the effort, and vice versa. People don't pay, they don't pay attention. So it's really not about the money. It's really about like helping people realize what they're capable of and what they can offer others that are behind them. That's really what it comes down to.
So you helped this young lady take her pain and position it to be able to, help other people find prosperity, man. And not just in the prosperity, not meaning like in the financial space, but like prosperity and healing. Like that is amazing. That is amazing. This is so much in what you're saying. It's like my mind is like going bananas right now
Oh,
because
dude, this
I,
is
I
amazing.
get
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. I understand it, and it's like if more people sat down with themselves and really looked at their lives, they would understand that their life and the things that they've overcome is actually a beautiful business model. Business
Exactly.
is people.
Business is
It's not.
people.
It's not.
Business is
It's
spiritual.
not
Yep.
numbers. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a God idea. I tell people all the time,
Amen.
business is a God idea. You look at
Amen.
Ecclesiastes.
Yep.
You look at Proverbs. Like, see a man diligent about his business. He shall sit amongst
Exactly.
kings. He will not sit amongst mean men. Like,
Yep.
business is a God idea. And if you sit down with and ask God, like, hey, Lord, like, what is it in my life that I can leverage to be
Exactly.
able to help other people and allow me serving other people to also serve my needs. Like that's why what you said resonated with me so much, where you talked
Mm,
about like, hey, like turn your sport into service. Like, man, that's so
mm.
powerful. It's so
So
powerful. It's so
powerful.
good, man.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, Christian, we have our signature question, man. This is the
Yeah,
Quiet
I'm
Arena
ready, bro.
question,
Let's
and
go.
it's near and dear to the heart of what it is that we do. And so the question goes like this. All right. So when the arena goes quiet, what part of you remains that the game could never take? And what are you building with it now?
Wow. I might need to hear that one again. That's really good. Uno Mas, can you do it one more time?
Yeah,
So I can
absolutely.
think through it.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, for sure. So, so when the arena goes quiet, what part of you remains that the game could never take? And what are you building with it now?
Mm. I think the game, yeah, brought that resilience, that purpose, or that grit, and that hard work and that industriousness,
Mm.
and realizing that teamwork and like other people need to be involved as well. And like, I think what remains is just someone who wants to show what's possible through strategy, accountability, and purpose. and support. And like, I think what remains is just someone who wants to perform at a high level and be someone who serves and helps other people become the people that they're called to be. In the same way I felt like I did that
I
on the
love
court.
that, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it. I love it, bro. That's how you take what you've learned, man, and you really transfer it over to what it is that you're building within your purpose, man. I love that answer. Well, before we get out of
Thank
here,
you.
man, I always want to give people the opportunity to, if there
Yeah.
are there any last words? Is there,
Yeah.
show people how to get in touch with you, your business, any of those
For
things.
sure. Thank you, Tony. Man, this conversation was amazing. I've been on a couple, but man, you asked some really good questions, and just the way you asked them and just your perspective and you getting it was just so powerful. So one, I just appreciate your questions and your presence and your like the way you ask, because it's not easy interviewing. So thank you so much, bro. Like, that was incredible. And thank you for your questions, because they pulled a lot of things out of me that I almost forgot about and haven't even thought about in like years. So very, very thankful for what you did there. And it was so powerful. And two, yeah, if you're looking like, if you're an athlete and you're like, man, like I know I have something to offer and I don't have the business skill sets and I want to find some purpose. And yeah, I want some income too, but I definitely want some purpose. Reach out to me. I'm on Instagram. I voice note a lot. I'm a voice note guy. So just reach out to me or reach out to my team, or whatever. But I love chatting and getting to know people and all that. So would love to connect with any of you guys listening. If anything resonated or if any way I could add value to your life, I would love to. And yeah, just really appreciate the time and space that you gave me here, man. This is awesome. And sorry about my little ones. They're hanging.
Absolutely. No, man, I love it. Oh, man, hey, what's up, young fella?
What's up? He's
I
crying. What
love it, man.
happened, dude?
It's
He got up
lunchtime.
so early this
Well,
morning.
I love him making the guest
Little
appearance. I
appearance.
love it,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Well, I'll say this. Yeah, I'll say this for everybody that is watching this episode. I know that you have gained some wisdom from it. I know I did. So I'm very appreciative of Christian Horner and what he brought to the table today in the locker room at the arena. And you guys that are looking for merch that matches the message, go to quietarenapodcast.com. For anybody that is struggling in that transition space, there's resources there. Get the book, What to Do When It's Done, and just reach out to us, man. We want to help in any way we can. So with that being said, thank you guys once again for coming into the locker room. Thank you for coming into the arena. It is your man, Tony the Tycoon. Have a wonderful, best day. We're out.
Living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, never tried, tell them all.